Hi everyone, it's Marie here, welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with a layout using the Happiness Captured project pack, which you can see here just scrolling on your screen. It's full of such beautiful things. There's that gorgeous butterfly stencil. So today I'm scrapping two photographs of my little puppy Poppy. She's not so little, well, no, she's still tiny. She never did grow very big, but she was really tiny when we first got her, and these are photographs from when we first picked her up and we just brought her home. So I wanted to document her becoming part of our story. So I chose this beautiful book paper. This is from the Simple Stories Love Story collection. And I toyed with the idea of possibly fussy cutting those books and then adding them onto a white background, but I always tend to do white backgrounds, or I do white backgrounds more than I do patterned backgrounds. So I decided to just stick with the piece of paper itself and use that stencil there with some white opaque texture paste direct onto the paper, feeling very brave. And then what I've decided to do is to take some, I believe this is spun sugar, and just use my blending brush to transfer some colour on and around where those butterflies are, and you'll see in a second that it just makes them pop from the page. I do use a large brush and then I do also use a smaller brush, and it just adds a little bit of colour to them. And then when you kind of look at it in different lights, not straight down as you are doing right now, but when you look at it in different lights, they really pop off the page and they look super, super pretty. Love using the white opaque texture paste. In fact, I've got a variety of different ones of the range of there you go, you can see it. The texture paste gives it that shadow, but the colour just helps it to pop from the page. So I'm going to position my photographs there kind of within the arc of the butterflies, and I'm going to use the title of Love You. And I'm going to use some of the white butterflies from the kit, as you can see there, moving up sort of across the page. I love the tags from this collection, so I'm going to pick out some that match in terms of colour. I'm going to just distress the edges ever so slightly and then pop the whole out, and that's going to go behind that photograph. And then I think we'll choose another one, this one from the corner here, another lovely pink one, and pop another hole, and I'm going to put them both behind the same photo. So now I'm going to open up the ephemera pack and start pulling through and having a look at what's going to work. I am going to pick out the lighter pink colours. I don't want to, there's a whole range of different pinks and reds in this collection, and I'm going to mainly go with the pinks. I have chosen that little green butterfly that I've just popped up at the top as well, and maybe some of this green foliage too. I want it to be sort of really soft. I did print the pictures in black and white, basically because she is a golden colour, and she's laid on a grey bed, which didn't really go with the collection. I really wanted to use this collection. I love using, I don't get much opportunity to use many pinks because I have just lots of boys. Obviously my husband is boy, my son as well, so I don't have a girl, so I don't get to use many pinks, so I have to use lots and lots of pinks when it comes to my dogs. Yeah, so just playing around with lots of different bits of ephemera. I seem to have gotten a slightly dodgy pack of ephemera that's ended up with like a double cut line round the outside. So just having to pull off some extra little like stringy bits that were on the outside of the ephemera, but never mind. I'll just pull those off and pick out the ones that I want to use. So I'm really happy with this. I don't want it to be too heavy. I don't want to use too much ephemera at all. There's plenty on the page already, so I'm just opening the other packs of ephemera that I do have, see if there's anything else that I fancy adding in. There are a couple of items I toy around with but then end up choosing not to use them. I do fancy having some sort of floral down that side, but I can't really find one that works. Or maybe that one works. I think I'll leave that one in there. I like it so far. I'm just getting some waxed twine now that I'm going to use to just add into those tags, one piece in each. I'm going to leave it quite loose up at the top there, and then tuck the ends in a little bit later on. I'm just going to open the final pack of ephemera and see if there's any other bits in there. I do find a butterfly. I do love Simple Stories collections. I do find they come with a huge volume of ephemera. I love collections that come with tons and tons of ephemera. I think they're so much easier to work with. because you can end up with no patterned papers left, but you can have loads of ephemera left, and then you can make a layout out of that just by using ephemera in a very small amount of pattern paper. But I find it very difficult to do the other way around, where I've got loads of paper left but no ephemera. So I tend to buy more ephemera than I do papers. But happy so far with how this is going. I'm just going to start sticking everything down now. So using wet glue, so I can basically reposition everything, move things around as I want to. I do love to overlap my photographs. I don't tend to ever have separate, unless I have like two clusters of photos. I tend to like cluster them together and overlap them slightly. So I've overlapped them with those tags. I'm going to grab some adhesive foam now. Always put adhesive foam on the back of everything. I love having that bit of dimension. It just adds that little tiny bit of shadow, which I just think adds a whole load to layout. So now I'm using foam dots, and I'm going to start sticking down my little floral clusters as well. I suppose the annoying part about this page is because I want to do the clusters of embellishments, I am covering up some of those butterflies I made, but you can still see them coming out of the bottom and you can still see them flying out of the top, which was the idea behind the stencil, is that it gave a really nice kind of place for your photographs to sit. So I'm just tucking in different bits of ephemera now. I'm playing around with some of them having foam dots on, some of them are being stuck down with wet glue, just varying it around, making sure that it all sort of fits together really nicely. Sometimes I will cut ephemera down as well to make it fit, and then you've got another half of the piece of ephemera that you can either use on another side or on a different layout. So butterfly wise, I always stick my butterflies down by putting foam pads on their wings and glue on their bodies, so that the glue sticks down to the page, and therefore the body sticks down to the page and the wings are stuck up slightly, and therefore it looks like the butterfly is taking off. And then yes, I just now grabbed my glossy accents and using the glossy accents to stick down all of the different bits of acrylic that I'm using on my layout today. So lining everything up, sticking everything down, and having those little floral clusters. And I love that little bow just in the middle, almost like she was a little present to us. So I'm now going to tie little bows in my waxed twine on my tags, and then just leave the stringy bits sort of floating around. I might move them around, generally tend to tuck them behind ephemera. I don't like them to look too positioned, but it is nice if they have a sort of a place to sit. So I just kind of tuck them in as and where they fit. And I go more with how they're sitting than trying to specifically position them. I do have a look at these little rub-ons here. I do love rub-ons. And I've just found a little one here that I'm going to put at the end of the word love you. I do play around with its positioning, but I've decided to stick it with love you there. I'm just using my little tool there to rub it off. I'm not sure if I find one more little butterfly to go up there as well. I like using rub-ons, I like using chipboard, I like using ephemera. I think it all gives a different texture and a different feel to the page. Playing around with my flare, I have decided to put a different flare on, and that's one of the flare with the words on. I think it says adorable on it, which seem to fit better, and I will just use the other flare on a different layout using a couple of these beautiful little metal brads. Just stuck a couple of those down, and there we go. There's my layout. Something I do off camera that I forgot to show you was, I think, that little love sticker there, and I do cover it in white splatters as well, which is my finishing touch, and you'll see a few sequins have popped up on there also. I've added the date, and I've added a little bit of journaling at the bottom that says, so glad you became part of our, so happy you became part of our story. And I just added that near my title as well. So thank you ever so much for looking. Please do check out the description box below for links to all the project packs from Peartree, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye for now.